Welcome, everybody, to the episode 39 of the Strength Hammer podcast, where we never skip a week. Don't look at last week. We never skip a week.
It's never happened, not once.
Not once. There's only been 39 weeks in the Earth's existence. So, yeah, we've never missed. We've been here through all of history. It's right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
It's some flat Earth type math we got going on here. So,
Are you a flat earther? Is that what I'm hearing here?
oh my God, no.
Okay. Because I was going to do the one-upmanship, where if someone gives you something so crazy, it's like that one is like, what was it? Someone says like, "Oh, the moon landing was fake." You always have to one up them and go, "Ha, you believe in the moon?" That's the only way to win.
Oh yeah, boy, that would actually probably just the flat Earther would stroke out at that. That would
It's like the Earth is flat. Like you believe in the Earth?
uh, just
Pedestrian.
pure heads exploding everywhere.
Good. That's fine with me. Yeah, if you're a flat earther, real quick before you turn this episode off, get fucked because you're stupid as shit. I got nothing else to say. Some
Math,
conspiracies are
math
true.
exists.
Some are flat earthers. You know, not all conspiracy theories are made equal. But a lot do come true. I'm gonna say that, but not the flat Earth one. That's fake. Anyway, before we get too far off topic, Neil, how have you been lately?
Oh,
And
I've been doing great.
I would say if you're not doing great, lie to me.
I'm amazing. Peachy keen.
Peachy keen. Getting any hobby in lately?
Yes, I finished a whole 15-man unit of Swordmasters, which actually took me way too long. Um, Again, it's always Total War 3 that slows us down. But like, if I really just sat down, I probably could have knocked those things out in a night or two.
Yeah. So here's as someone who now has Total War 3 to join you in the escapades. So my good PC that can run those video games is upstairs, whereas my hobby desk recording stuff is all downstairs.
Yeah, yeah,
So I can't
yeah.
be distracted.
Mhm.
That's great. I've been doing some hobby myself. I just finished a nice Sisters of Battle kill team, which was fun. A little distraction, a little palate cleanser.
Uh-huh.
I got the Goth Rocker on my desk right now. I was doing a little work with him before we started recording. Um, Maybe like another day or two, I'll have him knocked out. And obviously, event prep for the Tayrathi Classic. It's been renamed. Did you catch on to that?
I didn't see the name.
It's
I
it's
saw
no
the picture. I didn't see the name.
it's no longer the Tayrathi Invitational because it's been going for a couple years now, and the Tayrathi Classic just sounds. I don't know. I like
Sounds
it better, so
okay.
it's still an invitational only event.
It just appears more inclusive. It is in fact not.
Yes, it's actually we've gotten less inclusive. Uh, anyway, but yeah, like a lot of event prep for that. I have a whole gaming table full of prizes. And I think I mentioned it to you, but for the audience's sake. So, while I am an East Coast person, East Coast, Beast Coast, I do still appreciate I guess I'm gonna coin it as the Midwest prize support mentality, where awards aren't attached to prizes. Prizes are random.
Mhm.
I think that's better. I don't fighting fighting with your little toy soldiers to earn more toy soldiers. I think is silly. I'd rather
Yeah,
you fight for the award, like the piece of paper and the little plaque I put together.
yeah.
But since it's also Christmas, since the classic is 17th, 18th of this month, I'm gonna gift wrap them all. Neil, I know you said you had one that you're bringing. You're gonna gift wrap it as well, uh,
Yep.
and everybody is getting a prize.
Love it.
Yep. Some things are maybe cooler than others, and the intention of it too actually is to encourage because I did get some stuff that I know like certain people would want. So the thing is to help maybe like as an icebreaker to encourage people to talk and trade and just kind of like share. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the intent behind how I'm trying to do this one.
I try to at your events. I try to make sure that I always win the biggest and best prize, which is always a return trip to that event. And there are two ways to do that. One's much more feasible for me, and so I will be doing my darndest to achieve that.
So actually, you're talking about what I call the exemplary awards for the
Hmm.
Tayrathi. The Tayrathi Classic. It's gonna be hard to break that. Like I still like the name Classic, but the Invitational does kind of roll off the tongue. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm altering those awards slightly. So we'll get into that when we start reviewing the pack. There's one other piece of hobby that I did today that I'm super proud of, and my wife laughed at. She didn't say she didn't like it, but she laughed. She called me cute, and she said I can only put it in the basement or in our office computer room, which is the only two places where I can have Warhammer artwork. And upstairs typically is just High Elf or like Stormcast artwork.
Mhm.
All the chaos and the Daughter's Cane has to be in the basement where she doesn't come.
Right.
But I
Right.
I had an extra sprue of Mogwraith's warband from Underworlds because I bought it when it originally came out, painted it up, and used it for my Underworld's warband. It's in my Underworld's case. Then they released the sprue separately, and I picked it up to paint it for my army. And I forgot when I picked that second one up at the U.S. Open sometime at the start of this year, maybe it was end of last year, I can't remember at this point, um, that I also ordered one because it went made to order. So I had three and I didn't need three. So I bought a nice little shadow box off Amazon. It arrived yesterday. And so I kind of did like that classy thing where I put the instruction booklet behind it and I put the sprue over top of it. It's all like nice and shadowy and it's just hanging on the wall upstairs in my computer room slash office with a room me and my wife do our video gaming next to all my high elf art and fun.
Someday that's going to be like the Black Lotus of Warhammer, and you're going to have it framed and just sitting there and worth
I
$1 million.
I hope so. It is one of my favorite Warhammer kits they've done. It's trying to think if it would be the favorite. It's up there. Right now, my favorite is still the Dark Elf Sorceress because I've just converted and done so many of those. So maybe I'll do a small one for that. That might be fun. We'll see. But anyway, outside of that, how's your fitness been going, Neil?
Fitness. Well, I do have a fitness app on my phone now,
Ooh,
so
which one?
it's the one that came with the update. But I did fill it out and everything, so it's working for me. I'm trying to hit my calorie burn per day.
Okay, that's good. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and like that's the other thing. It's the little things. Like it's not always about getting huge and going to the gym. Sometimes it's just about making sure you're burning enough calories within your calorie range and just moving and grooving as much as you can. It's like,
I have very low expectations. My goal is just to make it to tomorrow. Really, live. That's what I want to do.
uh, I won't lie. My fitness has been more lackluster than I'd like to normally have it. Because obviously I had traveled to Kansas City. One of the reasons why we also didn't record is with travel, but like I got sick with that flu that's going around between Kansas City and New Mexico, and then I got better and I went to New Mexico. So,
Mhm.
uh, and I'll be honest, I'm not a good travel and workout person. I always take the clothes with the intention, and
Yeah.
it's just never. I always lose track of the time, or I yeah, it's something I'm trying to get better at, but it's been a lot of home workouts lately. Uh, it's just been kind of like falling back onto like my standard bro split where I do legs one day, I do chest the other day, um, or not. I guess bro split's not wrong because it's more of like a deadlift day, back squat day, and a bench day with some accessory movement. It's nothing that's gonna really maybe I think get me past just maintaining, but that is to change soon. I'm gonna be working, actually not working with. It's gonna be meeting with, and we're gonna do it together. We're gonna make a program that we're gonna start. It's gonna to start us at the beginning, probably of next week, and carry us through 8 weeks of like a program we're gonna put together and see how it goes.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's gonna be we're gonna work out together. As I mean, as much as we can. There might be a few days where we have to do it solo, but like at least 5 days a week, we try to do it together to help push each other. So it's gonna be a nice way to kind of finish out and start the year. Because my motto is I hate resolutions. So that's why I was like, I'd like to do this. I put the idea out to him, and he loved it. And yeah, we'll get to start the goals now, as opposed to like I'll start at the beginning of the year and fuck off for the
Mhm.
rest of the year. It's like no, start it now, damn it.
Yeah.
that's that's a lot of rambling. I think we should kind of dive into the main topics. Actually, first, because this might be the shortest one. Neil, there's an event coming up. Would you like to talk about it? Maybe give
Oh,
some inside baseball on it that you have.
well, I don't know that I have any inside baseball
You attended it
on it.
last year. You probably have a few
I guess
anecdotes.
so. Yeah. But Brewhammer is going live. So if you want a ticket, this coming Saturday at I believe 10 a.m. Eastern time. That is
Yep.
Eastern time, not Midwest time there. Um, so yeah, let's go. It's I think 40 people. I want to say,
Yep.
um,
That's what it
and
was
it
last year.
is.
Are they staying the same for this year?
Yeah, they're staying the same.
Okay,
They're not growing.
that's
From what
fair.
I understand, they looked into potential growth, but they are keeping it at the same venue, which was the Olentangy Brewing Company,
Ah, nice.
and it was an honest to God blast last year. So um, the people at the bar were actually really cool about it and everything, and we got everybody got like a voucher for a beer. I can't remember how that happened. I don't know if that'll be happening again.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
so don't hold me to that. But anyway, I mean, in between rounds or whatever, I was running around trying to buy the TO's beer, and
Oh, as you do, as you do. Yeah,
so
and that's in Columbus, Ohio, correct? Or near
that is
Columbus, I
in
should.
Columbus, Ohio.
Yep,
Yeah,
a nice little 3.5 hour drive for me, so I'm definitely going to be trying to grab a ticket. Wish me luck, everybody. Also, Neil said 10 a.m. Eastern. He actually did mean 10 a.m. Midwest, so just give me that extra hour.
yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Everybody can get tickets after all my friends do. So all right,
Exactly.
so
It's
get in line, wait your turn.
yeah. That's I know, but like worst case, I'll get on the wait list and just hopefully I get in. Because it's close, it's simple, it looked like a blast. I was sad I couldn't do last year. I think last year, I think I had a U.S. Open like real close to it, which is why I didn't go. Um, but this year I'm gonna sign up for it, and if there's a U.S. Open, I'll be like, sorry, I have plans.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta rectify some of those errors you made last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Errors in judgment, small errors in judgment.
Tiny errors in judgment.
But no, it really is a blast, and I can't speak more highly of all the guys down there in Columbus that make that happen, which there are many. So I will not go and name them
There
off.
are, but
But
I'm gonna call out Steven Matta
um,
because I just love him. He's a wonderful
yeah,
human being. Steven, I love you.
well, since we're into it, then too, Chris Thiel is the one
Yep.
who
There you
um, I never know if I'm pronouncing his last name right. For as long as I've known this dude, that's probably not okay. But
go.
he's a great guy as well, and he kind of he runs the flagship of the whole thing. So, but many people involved in that, they're all great dudes.
Did
So if you can make it and you can get a ticket, um, love to see you there.
is Anthony Paul Castro? Is he the one that did terrain? Did he print 3D print terrain for it? Like he's the one that does
He,
Nashcon terrain typically.
yeah,
See,
he 3D printed an entire table's worth of terrain, and that was their prize support. Now, again, don't hold me to this either, but their prize support last year was like uh, it was outstanding. It was there was more prize support there than I think I've seen anywhere else at any other event I've ever been
yeah,
to, and
didn't
then
they got like was it like army paint or like they got like some of like the high
they
end
had
stuff that was
sponsors and multiple sponsors.
which
I mean, they did a lot of work to get that together. And
yeah.
then the greatest thing about it too is it's a charity event, right? So if you want
Oh, I didn't know
prize
that. Actually, I
support,
missed that.
you pay for tickets, and it all goes to charity. So um, I mean, I put a little bit in last year into the pot there, and wound up coming out with well more than what my ticket was worth for the event in price support,
That's
based on
incredible.
luck of the draw. So that was pretty cool.
That's fantastic. I love that. Great. Listen, I'm looking forward to it. Best of luck to everybody trying to get a ticket because it's going to sell out immediately.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, probably minutes.
Yep.
I would assume. Yeah.
Yep.
if that.
Good, good.
So
Well, Neil, we have two other topics for tonight. That was the little brief topic. Get get everyone's palate. I guess the appetizer. That was the appetizer topic. Would you let's do the U.S. Open. Let's go right to the main course. We're gonna save the Tayrathi Classic pack review for the dessert.
no, yeah, I've got that
Yeah,
right in
yeah,
front of me.
yeah. Yeah. Well, let's just say you don't eat dessert first. We're not. We're gonna be good. We're gonna be good here. So I don't know how long I'll ramble on for this, but please, Neil, interrupt me with questions or anything else you'd like as we go. So I went and worked at the Warhammer U.S. Open 40K Grand Narrative slash Grand Finale for Age of Sigmar 40K. Is that last weekend already? No, what? No, a couple weeks ago. Anyway, sorry, time really is just like really gets messed up this holiday season for me. Um, in Albuquerque, New Mexico, at a very stunning resort, the Tamaya Resort and Spa by Hyatt, which is right on the Rio Grande. It was a absolutely like right next to the mountains, absolutely stunning, stunning view. My wife accompanied me. She got to enjoy a lot more of the spa than I did, but it actually it was
Why
really
is that?
yeah. There was one really funny anecdote because it's she had her own fun and she knew I was there to work, so that was all good. I think it was like the second night in a row when I came back at like midnight after doing like 16, 17-hour days. I climb into bed and she's just like, I think I know why sometimes you like need a few days to recover after these events and you might occasionally get sick. It's like, yeah, yeah, the 6 hours of sleep and being surrounded by tons of people and maybe forgetting to eat, that'll do it to you.
Yeah.
But regardless, we get, you know, very smooth flights in, no problems. I'm gonna knock on wood. I rarely have problems flying. I'm very thankful for that.
Now, are you one of those like can sleep on an airplane guys?
No, I usually watch documentaries on airplane. Like I'll get my cup of coffee. I like the coffee on airplanes. I don't know why. I think I just like terrible coffee. But
I know this is a little bit of a sidebar,
no,
but
yeah, let's go
I
there.
was flying recently as well, and I'm just so terribly jealous these people can just fall asleep. There's a guy next to me. I got the window seat right, and I'm fighting it. I'm trying not to have to pee, but an hour and a half in, man, the dam was about to burst.
Yeah,
Right, so I had to wake this guy up. He gets up. The guy next to him sleeping too. He gets up. They let me out. I go back in. By the time I come back in, get them out of their seats again,
they're asleep
sit
again.
back down. Both of these bros are out within 3 minutes again, and I'm
No,
like,
okay.
how is this possible?
Let's go through this. Do you get to choose the airline you fly on, or is that kind of like dictated by other aspects like work or whatnot?
No, no, no. We do a little thing where we get credit card points. So we tend to fly when we're flying on those points. We tend to only fly on that particular airline.
Okay, no,
They
it's
don't sponsor the show, so I won't mention it.
that's fair. That's fair. I tend to fly American because I can choose my seat. I'm an aisle seat person for that exact reason. I gotta pee.
Yeah, I've always been a
Yeah.
window seat person, and I think it's time to change. Right, I'm at this ripe old age where I don't know if I can make it through a 2.5 hour flight without having to use the potty.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'm an aisle seat person all the way. Um, but regardless, I tend to not sleep on planes. I took a little snooze for the first time in a long time on the flights home because I was exhausted. But we'll get to that part in the story later. But flight out's nice and easy. It's two flights. First one's Pittsburgh to Dallas Fort Worth and Dallas Fort Worth to Albuquerque. Um, Stop, pick up the shuttles, meet some of my coworkers. 'Cause obviously, like Dallas Fort Worth is a hub, so one of them was on the plane. Shout out to Zach Rockner, who's also like one of my bosses. He's a cool dude. But he also like he was like the guy running and kind of like the brainchild of the narrative itself, and he did a spectacular job. But anyway, getting sunny Albuquerque, get the vans. We go to the first hotel. So the first night we're there, we have to prep all the bags for all the attendees, which is like because like this is a big event. It was a pretty high ticket price. Everybody's getting lots of crap. So and we want to make sure everybody has their stuff. We're actually putting their name tags on it. We're writing their names on it. We're like everything's prepped for the folks coming in. So that's the first night. That's the plan. And we're staying at a different hotel, like right next to it. Uh, and it was a Native American casino hotel,
Uh-huh.
which I've never been, but it was fun. Like it was just like I don't know. I was like oh like I was walking around like oh it's a Native American casino. Like I never really you always hear like oh, that's like the joke on like the cartoons and stuff. It's like no, it's just like it's a really cool casino and it seems like they're
Yeah,
doing
I've never
well.
been myself.
Yeah, it was like I'm like okay, it's a casino, it's fun. Really nice rooms actually, like king size times three. Like these huge beds were huge. My wife loved it because like we sleep in like a something that's between a twin and a queen. So getting like a king plus, she's just like I have so much space. I'm like all this room for activities. Oh, there's the joke of the day, everybody. Regardless, um, so I thought it was gonna be a nice, easy Wednesday. We all fly in. We help stuff bags. I had to get the costume ready because I was Catachan Captain Gren Stonejaw for the weekend, part of the most of the weekend. So getting like the costumes on, but the woman who's part of the team who was in charge of the costumes, she's a great cosplayer herself. Her name was Emily. Um, she's from England, so she had flown over like the day before, obviously to get acclimated because like that's a big time difference for her.
Mhm.
But we needed to get some more supplies like some pouches, like ammo pouches, canteens, combat boots, stuff that like you're just not going to find unless you just go buy it. So
Yeah, you were looking pretty legit there.
yeah, no expenses spared. Let me tell you, I had the corporate credit card for GW, which is I never thought I'd say that. Um, but we went to the Army Surplus store. We went to Joann Fabrics. We went to Walmart, which also it's really interesting seeing someone who's not used to those American type things. Like her eyes were wide. Like, and then also she's crafty. So like we go into the Joann Fabrics and like she sees all the Halloween stuff like 70% off. She's like, oh my gosh! I'm just like, we're here for a sewing machine. Like, but regardless, like it turned into a much longer day, much harder day. Because driving all across Albuquerque is not the easiest experience, especially when you have a 12-person van as your
Wow,
transport vehicle. Um,
I can imagine.
Still, she was fun to hang out with. It was a good time. Got some Chick-fil-A. Yeah, that was the funny part. We're finally done. We come out of the Walmart, and I'm just like, okay, we have about a 45-minute trip back because honestly, like Albuquerque's really long, and like we were really we were past the north, so it's like, okay, I need food before we drive anywhere. And I walk out and I see a Chick-fil-A, and I remember turning to Emily and like, have you ever had Christian chicken? And she's just like, what? I'm like, we're gonna go with Chick-fil-A. Don't worry about it. It's delicious chicken. They're closed on Sundays. Blah blah blah. Like
Christian chicken. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard. Oh
what?
my
Yeah.
god.
I forget. Someone else told me that, and like it just sticks. It's funny. Got some Chick-fil-A. Had to drive back. And normally for these events, I don't get the chance to fly in on Wednesday. This time I was excited because that means I could have gone out with the team for the little team dinner slash have a few drinks that Wednesday night. But I had been going for 19 hours and I was done. We got back to the hotel. I gave one of the other people the keys. I'm like, I'm going to my room with my wife at the Chick-fil-A. You guys have a blast. So the easy day turned into one of the longest,
Yeah.
but worth it. Got so many cool things for the costumes, and the costumes are out spectacular. Well worth it. Good time. So then we all move to the actual resort, which this is where it really kicks in. It's just like, holy cow, it's so beautiful. It's a destination spot. I think a lot of folks did bring significant others, both on the team and also guests, because like yeah, it's a resort and spa.
Hmm.
It was cold, but it was sunny, so like the sun kept it warm. It was pretty nice. Um, then begins the inevitable event setup, which is always a long day. Usually one of the longest outside of teardown. So
Yeah.
I was already knackered and had to keep going.
I
Lots of
remember.
coffee. Lots of coffee.
Just putting bars together, which is not all that difficult.
Hmm.
I can spend 4 hours of prep time the night before, so I can't even imagine what a grand narrative would take. So,
Uh, no, it's here's the fun part because like we each like I was a Vox locale. That was my role. So essentially the way that here I guess I'm getting like the back ends about the setup and everything. Like yes, it's hard work. Everyone's like boo-hoo. I'm like no, it's fun. I enjoy it. It's just telling the truth. It's also hard work. Here's how the narrative was set up. So there's three factions, and this is also just like I said, it's just a 40k narrative, grand narrative, I should say. There's three factions: the Imperium, Chaos, and the Interlopers. And Interlopers is just kind of like all the Xenos races. and there was twice as many Imperium players as there were interlopers and Chaos. So what it was
Which,
is there's three factions.
which I mean, honestly, that's probably about accurate for the
Yeah,
universe, right?
I would say so. Um, so there's three factions. Within those factions, there's battle groups. Now, the nice thing about this event, which was spectacular, is there was Discord set up for each faction. Within each faction was a sub chat for the specific battle groups. So you got, and what the battle groups were is those were your teammates. You went from battle zone to battle zone with those people, playing other battle groups from the opposite sides. So they really got to develop friendships and rapport and strategy before the event even began, and it showed so much. Um, and like I said, there was six to start battlegrounds. And so during the setup, like I said, I'm the Catachan, so I got the jungle room, obviously, called Zalakar North. And we there was terrain painted for it because of the I didn't paint any of this terrain, but like other members of the team, like a lot of members of the team, painted specific narrative terrain. Like this wasn't just painting it for a competition table or anything like that. It was themed. It was designed specifically, and like I had my room, and I was just like, here's all the stuff we have for your room, like camo bags, like this big poster that like it's jungle, and then we had scent diffusers, we had sound like Bluetooth, so we had like we were given like free reign, like make this room your room. So like I set up all my tables. I did a nice little thing where as you enter the room, there was more civilization buildings, so a lot more like the standard Imperium buildings. And the farther you got away, the more trees I added and less buildings I had. So the last table was pretty much just all trees. And like there were specific rules, like this is dense, this is impassable, like that sort of stuff based upon the type. So like there was two shooting armies that chose the trees, and I was just like, hey guys, like this whole table is -1 to shoot because it's nothing but trees, and they're just like, I guess we're all going in melee. Like I said, it's narrative, so like everyone just kind of like whatever it was, they just had fun with it. But
Hmm.
like it was fun being able to set up my room and just make it my own. That was the most fun I had during setup. Like obviously, like there's things that are hard, like setting up the store. And, honestly, the setting up the competitive stuff was pretty easy because there's only 8 tables, 16 players. That was the easiest setup ever. But like, getting to craft my room and giving that full agency, obviously like trust but verify. Like Mike Brandt was walking around with Zach, being like, "Hey, this table looks good," or like, "Hey, let's change this." I take a bit of pride that they walked into my room and I said, "Here's the theme. Here's what I did," and they're like, "Perfect," and they walked out. Like that's I felt good because I'm like I did the narrative right. So
Maybe
yes,
maybe Chuck's gonna be running the next Sigmar Grand narrative then.
I
With
I hope
that
so.
kind of
It's
resume.
it's not outside the possibility that's a thing that happens, and it's not a guarantee either. But like I said, I had a blast. I'm a narrative gamer at heart. I think most people know that. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, like I said, I just gave myself to it, and it gave back tenfold. So next day, like obviously games begin, everything's set up, rock and rolling, and that's when it gets to be the easiest. Like once the games are going, that's when it's the easiest. Uh, you know, so I was in character. So like actually the night before, sorry, after setup, we're in costume. The faction leaders give their briefing. Obviously, we're with the Imperium because all the battlegrounds there's a Vox locale in each of the 6 rooms, and we have to shout out like I was like ready to defend or whatever, and I was like Zalakar North, ready for war, and I screamed it. Like I'm like I don't know where that came from. It scared the shit out of me as I'm saying it because like I'm even though I can look like a Catachan, I don't always sound like a Catachan. A little soft spoken, I admit, but
I
that
mean,
was fun.
how does a cat a chance sound is the question.
Gruff and loud and a 90s or 80s action movie, however you want to take that.
Just like your best Schwarzenegger impression.
I was going for more Stallone, honestly.
That's fine. I mean, that's the other way you go.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
can see that.
But yeah, that was fun too, because like, you know, everything we do as the Voxel Calum, like treat it as in character. Like I never had coffee, I had recaf. Like be in character, be in world the lore. Don't randomly pair like an a knight like or it's like a space marine with a Tyranids player in case you had like a weird odd number to play against an orc player. It's like no, like keep everything within the lore because that's the other nice thing. This whole event series of events that happened is canon. The ending and how it happened is canon. Things that happen in these rooms that we're going to relay to like the I guess the lore team, they'll turn it into like little vignettes and make it canon. So it's going to be legit. So we had to make sure we were very legit and like on top of our game to do it to the best of our ability. Um, so yeah, so the next day, my battle groups come in. We have narrative ways to like they have their narrative like goals within the game, which are kind of like loose commands they have to interpret, and then we give them like kind of input like, hey, good job holding that ground soldier. They weren't told what hold the ground meant, but like if we like as the voxel count, we knew what hold the ground meant. So if we saw them succeeding at it, we could be like, hey, good job holding the ground soldier. And they could go, huh, okay, and start putting together like what it actually means in game terms without being told, which is a very cool way to do it, I think. Some people
Hmm.
that idea kind of bounced off of, but a lot really took it very well. So it's hit or miss, but I think it was a fun way to do it.
Yeah.
Um, but sure, but yeah, and I got to do like all the movie quotes, like I ain't got time to bleed, or if it bleeds, we can kill it. Uh, all that sort of fun stuff. Um, I was not ready for the level of passion that was being brought. Not only was GW staff in costume, like for the people like as characters, I would say 60 to 70% of all the players had costumes as well. And like they would be in character, all that sort of stuff, so we could interact back and forth. I mean, you only go so far with that for sure, but like like I would have Katie people dressed as Cadians come up and like introduce me, and I'd be like Captain Grant Stonejaws, Alucard, and it was just fun. Like it's casual. We're a bunch of freaking nerds, um, doing the best type of LARP because we're not hitting each other with foam swords. We're just having a good time. Uh, so, but like the truly like on the Games Workshop end, I think we succeeded at what we set out to do, and it was the players that came that really took this to the next level.
Hmm.
Like heck, I was getting gifts from players. Like they're in my trophy case. Like I got like a foam dagger because someone was like he was like always hunting like special ore as part of his lore. So like he gave me like a crafted dagger of the ore, which was just a foam dagger, but like it was cool and it was like meaningful. So I kept it on my character the whole time. Um, Another one like there was a battle group number 3, which was my favorite. They were loud, they were rowdy, they had a fucking blast. But they had like they were all like most of them were Dark Angels, and I'm a Dark Angel fan too. But since I was the leader of the Voxel Calum at the room they're in, they gave me like one of the patches that like has the lion's head and says Battle Group 3 and like their motto because they were all wearing it, and they gave me one, and I was just like, this is so cool. Like
That's awesome.
I wasn't expecting getting gifts for this, um, but like I said, absolutely stunning the level of passion brought from everybody. And like I said, just kudos to all of them. Like I said, I think everybody understood like we're all doing our best too. Like even if there was any sort of like issues, we're working to resolve it, and like feedback's always appreciated. Um, there was a little bit of a unexpected twist because I was going to be in the grand narrative the whole time, but the TO, one of the counterpart Age of Sigmar TOs, John was going to come to run the Age of Sigmar Grand Championship. Unfortunately, he took ill right before the flight, which, yeah, like, if you're sick, don't come. Like, don't push yourself and don't get anybody else sick. Like, you know, that's just how you do. Uh, he couldn't make it, so I had also kind of double duty to help with the Age of Sigmar championships, which, dressed as a Catachan in makeup and everything, being a TO for Age of Sigmar was a really odd experience. A special shout out to Eddie Eccles from the GW team who was over for the streaming for Age of Sigmar. So when he wasn't streaming, he also helped TO because he knows how to play the game, and he did a fine job. So, uh, between the two of us and a little help from one of the international TOs for 40K who also knew Sigmar. So his name's Calvin. He has a YouTube channel. I think it's Lim Limm. I think he does all in German though, possibly. So I'm not sure how much of an English audience he might have. But he popped in every once in a while when I'm just like Eddie's on stream and it's like, hey, I need to pee. Can you just watch these people that don't have questions anyway, just in case? And he's like, yeah.
That don't have questions anymore. I love
I
it.
mean, that's honestly the truth.
Mhm.
Like I said, like we got it done and it had a great event. But once again, I knew most of the people who were there for the championships for Age of Sigmar, and I got to meet a few more, and they're all wonderful. I was so happy to meet them all. But truth be told, it was just like last year and this year. Like they don't need me. Like
Yeah.
I'm there to help them finish their games when they were going to time. Um, like hey, can you reset the terrain or because like we got kind of because like, it gets pushed around like that sort of stuff, like basic stuff. But even like that, like some of them have been to so many U.S. Opens, they're like, oh, okay, they pulled out their tape measures, they knew where the terrain belonged anyway. It's like they didn't need me. But it
Right.
was it was fun to
You
see
probably
them.
had more questions in the narrative event than you did in the.
I did actually, I
Okay.
did. But like they're also easier. Like the questions I do get for like that, it's usually like, "Hey, this just isn't clear. How are we playing it?" And it's like I have to look through. And like, yes, okay, here's how we're playing it. It's fine.
Mhm.
Whereas a 40K, it's like basic questions, and I just say the answer that I thought was right. And we
Yeah.
went, yeah, and then they're like, "Cool, yes, sounds good." But yeah, like it was wonderful. Like I said, I've developed a good friendship with a lot of these folks, like Gavin, Emma, Tom, Caleb, Scooter. Um, like over the years of seeing them more and more. So like seeing them again and like them coming up and like like hugs and handshakes and just seeing them was just wonderful. And then it's like getting to meet the new people too. So the Sigmar folks put on a great round of events. I think there was a few like unexpected upsets. Solid play all around. Um, Congrats to Dean and I'm sorry if I say this wrong. I think it's Mateus for taking their brackets. And also congrats to Austin Morgan with the Sylvaneth for taking overall best painted within the overall category for yeah, like there was a special best painted award out of the people who had the best painted armies. So
Wow.
that was fun.
Nice.
Yeah, but just fantastic. Like I said, I made so many friends on the 40K side, on the international side with these judges that came over to assist, and also like meeting me Age Sigmar folks. Like it was wonderful. I'm glad we got Age Sigmar streamed this time. Just that, like I said, it was just a wonderful experience. Like I said, and it was a challenge because I was going back and forth between that and the narrative. So like I had like about a good solid 45 minutes of frustration during that first shift out of 40K narrative to competitive Age of Sigmar mode. Like it was just like, oh, like like it's like I'm going 80 down the highway and oh, I should put it in reverse for no reason. you know
Hmm.
but once I got past that and kind of got over myself, I was fine. But like even without that, like I said, it was a great event. The Sigmar community continues to be one of the best. And like yeah, kudos to them. And like I said, I got to go back and continue assisting with the grand narrative, even though it was like a little bit more limited. But being the Catachan, it was fun. It was great whenever I had to like depart the room. I'd always just tell the folks like, hey Imperium, do you see the chaos scum across from you? And they're like, yes sir. And like, I don't want to by the time I return. Like I said, it was good. It was exhausting, and it was the most fulfilling event I've ever been able to be a part of, let alone being one of the people technically running it on the little level that I did. So, um, and like I said, my wife was having a great time. She got to see what I do. She got to come visit. She she enjoyed seeing me as a Catachan. She thought it was funny. Um, she got to hang out in my room. Like she just kind of hung out in like the room, so like during like one of the things where I was kicking it off. So she got to see me pretending to be like a big tough badass instead of like the quiet guy in a corner who just likes to lift weights. But yeah,
That'd be cool.
it is. And like I said, the I want to give a shout out to you real quick. So the three faction leaders, one was that Zach Rockner. He was Cran the Beast, so for Chaos. But for the Imperium and Interlopers, there's a husband and wife. It's Fred and L Designs, ELLE. Fred and L Designs. They made his costume because they also have their own costumes that they brought. They know 40K, and these are exceptional costumes. Look them up on Instagram, Facebook, probably maybe even YouTube. Um, but they are stellar cosplayers, and throughout the course of the event, like we're also getting like makeup, like we're getting more beat up. They had like almost full costume changes, like they're caught like of them going more and more haggard through war. It was crazy cool. And they really sold their faction leaders. Like there's faction briefings. Like I got to be part of the Imperium one with the Lord Militant, which was that Fred. And like he had everybody kneel, do prayers to the Emperor. Like it's just so cool. But in the end, um, two things were surprising to me. One, the interlopers won.
That's, do you know why?
Why? If you
Because
say,
they have Tau on their side.
oh, I made a new friend there. He's a Tau player, Drew, and I mean he's not gonna listen to this, but like he's a Tau fan, and I told him about you, and he said you were right and I was wrong, and well, but interlopers won. Chaos got kicked to the curb pretty hard. Imperium was in the middle of that pack.
Mm.
But as every good loyalist of the Empire knows, there's no defeat. There's victories and there's holding actions. Um, so we didn't lose, you know. Even though the interlopers won, Imperium didn't lose.
Mm.
But so that was kind of surprising. It's cool to see, and I can't wait to see how the narrative gets written out for that. But the other thing that really blew me away, uh, it has been a long time since I have received one as part. I've never received one alone, but I've received one as part of a team before, and this is the second time. And this was the most sincere one I think I've ever received. I say I received that we received as a team because I don't, we as the Vox Localum we received from the entire audience a standing ovation, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck to do to this. Like, do I
Yeah,
cry? Do I look away? Like, oh god, what do I do? Like, but it was like it made everything worth it.
that's awesome. I'm a little jealous.
Yeah, it's
I'm a lot jealous, actually.
all I can say is whether they're if we get a Sigmar one, great, or if it's 40K one, like this grand narrative that is put on through the U.S. Open team, um, go to it. It is worth the cost, even if you stay at a different hotel, because I understand cost is a thing, but like the ticket, like it is exceptional. You are making friends for life, and like I said, it's not just the GW people putting on a good show. It's the community coming in and taking it to like 13, like real hard. It's great. Um, but yeah, I absolutely loved it. Like I said, exhausted, cleaned up, for a long time. Um, did our best to fight the altitude because also like it's like 5,500. It's almost it's not a mile up, it's close to a mile up, and I'm not used to being a mile in the air, so
Hmm.
get winded fast on the cleanup there. But got a couple hours of sleep, about four. Then got on the bus, and me and my wife we got on our first flight home back to Dallas Fort Worth. Short flight, kind of a rough landing, for no reason. Like it wasn't like a bad landing, but it was just like one of those like boom, like real hard, but you're on the ground. I was like, okay, whatever. I've had those. Um,
Yeah.
we get some food in Dallas Fort Worth 'cause we had a nice layover. Um, get on the last flight home. And this is the last part of the story. It's just this was just like a fun little anecdote story. Um, me and my wife, like, I'm thankful because like I said, fly American, so I can choose seats. So I was able to buy our tickets together, so I was able to put our seats together without any hassle. Um, so and I graciously gave my wife the aisle seat. I always took the middle, but uh oh, I drew a blank on the gentleman's name. There's a nice gentleman that sat next to me on the whole flight, and I kind of was it Bryce? You know, that's it. He's not gonna listen to this. He's not a Warhammer person. He's just an older dude. He was cool, and he's like me. I like talking to people on flights. I like learning
Oh,
stories.
you're an airplane talker, are you, Chuck?
I am now. I respect if you got your headphones in or you're sleeping. I'm not gonna bother you. But
Hmm.
you know, I'll say hello. I make like an ice breaking joke real quick, and like if you're receptive, we'll have a little chat. On the way back to Pittsburgh, me and this gentleman shot the shit for an hour and a half the flight. But like you know, he was clearly exhausted from whatever he did too. So like as we're doing, like we both kind of like stopped talking at the same time, and then we both kind of nodded off for like the rest of the flight. Yeah, but like I said, it was just very nice, and like the end point was like you know he's older, he has a couple kids and all that sort of stuff, and he was asking like why I was out there, and I was telling him about Warhammer, and he was like, oh, he's really fascinated, and that's after we shared stories because we were both hunters, we were both fishers, that sort of stuff. But like he's like I have to look into that, and just by happenstance, so at this event, guys, we were setting up. Uh, uh, Zach Rockner threw the Slaves of Darkness book at me. He's like, "Here, Chuck, you can have this for free." I looked, and it's the one that's replaced right now. I said, "Thanks, this is worthless." He's like, "That's why I gave it to you." And I was like, so actually, I gave it to my wife, and she took it back to the room, and she was just reading it for fun. So it was like, I was like, "Yeah,
Mhm.
whatever, it's fine. It's trash anyway." Um, so we're flying back, and I had it in my bag for some reason. Like in my tiredness after cleanup, I just put it in my bag. So I was like, "Hey, you know what? I have this extra book. This back half is rules. It means nothing to you, but this front half, it's cool art. It's cool story." I kind of gave him a brief rundown, and he's like, "This stuff is metal as hell. Like, look at this art." Like, he loved the picture of Archeon surrounded by like the Varangard. So
Mhm.
like, there's some gentleman out there now that is interested in Warhammer without knowing what Warhammer is, but he was a great guy, and it was just a fun little anecdote. It was like the perfect way to end it, like just a nice
This
conversation, handing
this
out.
story is the most Chuck thing ever. I
I
just love it.
I know it's like, I hope one day like I hope one day he just like, or him or his sons, like one of them just gets into Warhammer and it's just like, yeah, my dad was given a book on an airplane. And I'll just be like the meme from Leonardo DiCaprio,
Mhm.
like the point and snap my fingers, like that was me. But yeah, all in all, exceptional event. I got to meet some very cool folks, like Scary, Kenny, uh, uh, like and that's just I'm rambling off names. Like I got to meet so many cool people. I had a great time. It was the best event we've ever done, as far as the narrative concerned, and I can't wait for it to come back.
Absolutely.
So, with that main course in our tummies digested. Oh, real quick, I do have like a little mini travel vlog. I'm gonna try and put it together. The problem was the audio didn't work for it, so I'm gonna have to do like a voiceover audio thing. But I'll try and get that out within like a week or so, just to see the travel a little bit and see the halls and some of the rooms.
Mm.
But yeah, yeah. With all this main course in our belly, Neil, let's go to dessert now. I think
All
you and
right.
I are both excited for dessert, and I apologize, everybody. This is probably one of the longer shows we've done in a while.
Mhm.
As long as you're still good, Neil. I don't want to keep
I'm
you.
I'm good. Let's go. Let's have some cheesecake here.
All right. Ooh, cheesecake. I like cheesecake. Is it peanut butter cheesecake or classic cheesecake?
There's no such thing as anything other than New York style cheesecake with pick your fruit on top. Okay, and by pick your fruit, I mean either blueberries,
I would say I want
blackberries,
blueberries. I want blueberries.
or or strawberries, which is the king of cheesecakes.
Okay. All right.
Anything
Blueberry.
else is wrong. I'll
Blue,
hear no brook no disagreement.
blueberry for me. Then I'll take that, sir. So I officially released the final update for the Tayrathi Classic 2022 event pack today. Uh,
Hmm.
and I had one typo that I've already corrected. So, Neil, would you like to read over the event details and overview if you have the pack in
I
front of
sure
you?
will.
Awesome.
The Tayrathi Classic 2022 event pack, as written by the Truck Moore. Event details overview. We've got a
Wait.
5 game.
Please describe the banner at the top.
Okay. The banner is the Daughters of Cain, some artwork right there with Tayrathi um, kind of got put right into the picture there, which is awesome. It
Yeah.
actually looks like it goes like very well.
Thank you.
So
I tried
did a
hard to
good
make
job
that
with that.
work. But do you see what's to
Yeah.
the right of it? Kind of like 50% faded.
I see some. Oh, I see the middle finger there.
Yeah.
Yeah, nicely done there.
It's
Nice.
Taylor Swift giving the middle finger from her one of her
Yeah.
videos. Because
I did not recognize that as what that was at first,
yep,
but
yep.
well done.
Please continue.
But we got a 5 game invitational event,
That's the
Warhammer Fantasy Battle.
that's the typo. It's a 4 game.
Oh, that's right. It's 4. That's right. It is
Yeah.
4, and it's not. I guess it still isn't invitational, but
It is still an
it's a
invitational.
classic.
Yeah.
It's a classic. It's a classic invitation.
Yeah, exactly.
No end time rules. It is hosted by the Barn Owls,
Which is my
and
weekly Wednesday club.
with a special thanks to Mark. I'm not going to try and say his last name because you already know it, right, Chuck? So you're going to say it.
It's Rody.
There we go. I'll have to remember that. Who's hosting the event? Score will be
Hey,
based on win loss
he
draws.
likes bourbon if you need to bring him anything.
Okay, good. Duly noted. and I like bourbon as well, so perhaps that will happen. Draws will be determined by a beer, soda, water chug, rock, paper, scissors, or fitness challenge.
Hmm.
I would go with the beer chug for sure
Most
there.
people seem to go for that, actually.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, seeing you on Power Hour last time, and the competition that would be there in the
Oh,
beer chug, 'cause, there was some that was pretty poor showing by a lot of you.
oh,
I
yeah,
gotta say that was tragic.
yeah. You got,
Not being the worst of the bunch, my goodness.
yeah. Oh my goodness, Cole and Matt specifically. If you draw like if you're playing Matt, play to a draw because you could take him out.
You can't be as big as Matt and be affected by beer like that, especially what is it? Was it Miller Lights he was drinking? Bud Lights?
Uh, Iron City.
Iron City.
So,
I don't know
so
what the
if
percentage is
you,
on that.
it's a I think it's like 4.5. Nothing
That's
big.
yeah, no, no. He could have literally drank for another 2 hours. There's no reason.
So here's the best part because if you watch that episode, I just milk an old fashioned, which is what I'm having right now.
Mhm.
Because the next day was a surprise 40th birthday party for him, and I didn't want to be hungover trying to drive an hour and 45 minutes to it.
That's too funny.
So it's like I had to act like, oh, I just didn't buy the beer, and
Yeah,
but yeah,
love it.
it's a rare podcast when you see Matt getting drunk and me staying sober.
All right. So coming back full circle to the
Yeah.
pack. The next little note is probably my favorite part of this invitational, and that's what makes invitationals great. There will be no sports score because if I thought you were an asshole, I put the asshole part in there. I would not have invited you.
Exactly.
So, so no assholes.
No
All right, we
assholes
love
here.
that. All right. Armies are hopefully fully painted and based, but not required at this event.
Now
This year,
that is a change, only because I've forced Warhammer Fantasy Battles upon everybody that is within my circle. So
hmm
the goal is, and if you want to win some of the awards, you better be fully painted and base. But
hmm
we're not gonna be too harsh this time since it's a new
yeah,
thing.
yeah. So lists do not need to be submitted, but cannot be changed during the event. I know that's something we kind of uh, tossed around a little bit, but that got nixed.
Yep.
All armies must have a narrative named hero, not unique hero, just to give a model a name for some coolness. Add a narrative as you wish.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got day one. We got 3 rounds in day one.
Yep.
And then after dinner, evening activities and games, that happens from 7:30 on to probably
Uh,
bright and early in the morning.
real quick, you know what else is great about this? And I told everybody to bring a couple bucks to throw to the gentleman Brandon, who's part of the Barn Owls founders, along with myself. He's going to be
Mhm.
cooking the food for the event. So lunch and
Oh,
dinner.
we're gonna have food there, huh?
Yeah. So I said, and I tell it to everybody. I'll remind him again. Bring a couple bucks to throw at him. He won't accept it, but just stuff it down his pants like a stripper. And
Right,
he
right, right.
is,
We'll just leave it around the barn, just random places.
yeah, and he's a phenomenal cook and baker. So we're in for a treat. And he's
I
not
love
playing.
that.
He's just there to hang out and do this for us. So like kudos to him.
Yeah, so 3 rounds on day one, and 12:18 we've got 1 round,
Yep. Only need four
which
rounds with 12 people.
which yeah, that's are we gonna have 12? I heard there might be 2 drops.
It looks like we're gonna be good for 12. Thankfully, it's kind of like the last minute. It's like nope, nope, 99% sure. I mean, there's a 1% chance that one of the alternates has to drop for work, which there's another alternate who's willing to also drop and just hang out.
Okay, sounds good. Let's see, and we'll move on to the second page here. I don't know if these names, are they all accurate still?
Yes, the names are accurate. I
Okay.
tell you, I will go through the awards here just to. Well, you can do the. I'll do the exemplary awards. You do the awards. You're doing a great job.
Okay. Awards. Tayrathi's champion, event winner by total wins per BCP app. All right, so we're doing a little BCP
Which,
for this.
and the reason I,
Follow on BCP if you like.
yeah, you absolutely can. The reason I put that originally I thought about scoring like victory points to choose wins, but
hmm
I saw a few people, won't show their names, getting a little too into it. I was just like, all right, fuck that. You win or you lose. And do you know what the tiebreaker is? If now then the tiebreaker as far as if we have the same records at the end of this somehow. You know what the tiebreaker is? Fucking random. BCP
I
will just
love it.
go, you.
That's great.
Yeah,
Love it.
because that's why I said buy a piece per BCP app because they have a nice little tool. It's
Mm.
typically used in the events that are run. Random's like the eighth tiebreaker in case everything's equal. You know what I mean? But for me, it's the
Mhm.
second.
I just think they should just like kick each other in the dick until one drops, because I'm not going to be one of those guys who's winning. So I think that's a great idea.
Or what we could do is we could just do the beer chug for the winner overall. Like that's an option. So
All right, I guess we could do the beer chug instead.
mhm.
Jeez. All right. So next one, honorary member of the Tayrathian cult. Most kill points by your narrative named hero. Track these yourself, please. I will not be tracking that. Um,
Do your best. Just do your
I have
best.
in any invitational I have been to, I have not done that one. So there's no reason to start now.
It's weird. Part
Um,
part of me because like since I'm playing the event, I can go for all these awards.
yeah,
With the exception of one that we're about to get to. But like I thought about trying to make a killy character to go for it, but it's like I mean, in a way, I am Tayrathi, so how could I also be an honorary member of the Tayrathian cult if I'm also Tayrathi in a way?
right.
But it's also like that might be fun to try too.
You can't win that one. I'm gonna
Oh,
put my foot down on that.
all right, fine, I can't.
So yeah, you could still win it, but you just can't win it.
Okay, gotcha.
Cool as Kane. The coolest army decided by the Barn Owl founders. This could be an amazing paint job, cool narrative, unique list design, or even costumes. Whatever makes you and your army more memorable. Hashtag sponsored.
Yes.
Not sure what that means.
So I since the Barn Owls were the hosting this and like it's like some of the founders are playing, some of them are cooking, that sort of stuff, and also hosting. I wanted to have this award be chosen by those five founders or whoever's present, which it should be all of them. Is five, right? Yeah, yeah. Anyway, um, so since I'm going to be one of the people on the founders choosing that, this is one I can't win. But so it's going to be a really tight field. So about half the field's getting removed, or at least a third of the field's being removed to decide this. So this is a very cool award to win, and it's like it's just something that goes, that's fucking awesome. You win this. So that's all that
Mm-hmm.
is. But since it's Barn Owl's founding and they're kind of hosting, it's sponsored by them. They're not giving me any money, but also we're using Mark's barn for free, so I count that
Sure.
as money.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Then we got In the Halls of Cain, Best Narrative by Player Vote. And then Friend of Cain, Favorite Opponent, or Favorite Opponent by Player Vote.
Yep, two nice ones. I
Perfect.
always feel in the small invitationals, it's good to have your players also participate in the judging.
Mhm. So we're on to exemplary awards, and that take it away.
Yeah, so these are two awards for this. So there is the championship belt and the brick of shame. So the championship belt is a WWE toy belt that I picked up during the first event, and using my cosplay skills, I made it a Tayrathi WWE championship belt. Typically, this has been the person who wins the event. So first year is Bill Souza, last year was Cole McGinnigal. This year, who knows? But the trophies are held for one calendar year. So you actually get to take it with you because if you earn one of these two awards, you get an automatic invite back to next year. Now, of course, I have a typo here too. Dang it. Oh well. Um, so typically the belt's been first place and the brick of shame's been last place. Now the brick of shame, I explained what the belt is. Neil, do you want to explain what the brick of shame is? How the trophy came to be?
The Brick of Shame is a block of wood, which some complete clown who didn't have any money decided to turn into a blood shrine, or what do they call it?
Cauldron of blood.
Cauldron of Blood. There we go. And for his Warhammer Fantasy army. And when Chuck was over this person's house, he was collecting a bunch of old metal witch elves, and it was also gifted this
Yep.
as well. And of course, there were bits and stuff on this thing, but Chuck ripped all
For
that stuff.
the time and place when it was made by this clown, I completely understand it and it made sense.
It didn't make sense.
Yeah, it's like yeah,
Um,
it's yeah.
but this clown, this clown gave the Chuck kept the brick, and
I
then
ripped all the bits off.
ripped all the bits off.
Something it's sprinkled across all my elf armies, like the avatar of Cain is holding up one of my sharks in my Idoneth army. The models are like within my units for witch elves, so it got use. It got use.
It's still around in spirit.
But
But
this brick this
the clown in question did eventually win that last year, and
yeah
so I will be bringing the Brick of Shame back, and that is how I made the invitational, by being terrible,
yeah.
which is what I do best.
So I said
Um,
it's a Daughters of Cain thing because it was a cauldron of blood and it was shameful, so it was ripped apart to the bare minimum. To be fair, that piece of wood sat from the time you gave it to me until I started this event. It sat in my toolbox. So when I realized to do this idea, I put some Tayrathi runes on it. So it's a trophy. It's a legit trophy.
mhm.
But like I said, he's usually first place, last place, and usually grudge the next time, which is what's happening this one. Cole, you're
Yep.
grudging against Neil. Obviously, Neil, you get to whoop Cole's ass because you've actually played some fantasy battles, whereas Cole is busy with life stuff and is not trying to win the event.
No, I will still lose this game for sure.
I don't know. He's
Um,
got demons and you have Banner of the World Dragon. You're in a good spot, buddy.
I won't use it to its full potential, I'm sure.
Listen, if he hits you with anything in the unit that has it, just roll two and ignore it. That's all you got to do.
That's the problem.
That.
So,
Oh, look, another
ones are a
one.
thing. As long as ones are on dice, I will roll them.
So these awards typically said first place, last place, but I've changed it this year because, and it was kind of sparked from seeing the people who are kind of getting too interested in like the champion, like winning the event. It's like this is a narrative event. It's not about winning this stuff. Like even Bill Souza, who came and crushed face the first year we did it, had a narrative for his army because I put it in the pack and it was a fun narrative. So like,
Mhm.
if Bill Souza can take this event and treat it in the proper fashion, so can you, random person that I love and I invited who could never ever get more than 2 wins out of major GT.
Mhm.
Like seriously, like let's not think it. So the championship belt is going to be the player who embodies the spirit of the event and brings a smile to Kane's face. Um, so that's going to be these are both going to be decided by me. So the person who I feel, not necessarily who won the event, the person who wins the event still gets their reward, but the person who I feel really has bought into this event, not just at the event, but like I'm also saying like has put in the effort for the army, has put in the effort to learn the game system again, top to bottom, and maybe gets a little bloodthirsty along the way. Like I said, it's completely up to my discretion. So that's the person who's going to have the belt,
Mhm.
and then the Brick of Shame. It's kind of like an alternate of that because I want it to be the alternate. It could still be the person who comes last place because this could be that person, but the person who did their best to embody the event but came up short, or last, but they, despite their bad luck, bad rolls, and ability to play this game, at least has proven to get another chance to prove their worth to Kane. So,
So basically, if you have circle bases on movement trays, you're out.
ah, well, for the championship belt, probably.
That's the
Brick of
you're out.
Shame, Brick of Shame. You have a chance
Brick of
though.
shame. Oof.
We'll see. We'll see. Like
I
I said,
suppose.
I'll be keeping an eye on people. Like I say, hey, I might just be like, hey, whoever takes the most shots in this next hour gets the Brick of Shame.
All right. By the way, I am taking Monday off. I've decided. I've made the call. I'm taking the Monday off after this event. So
That's smart. Like I said, only need 4 rounds, so I made like the first day or second day a little bit shorter, so everyone can get home at a reasonable hour, have dinner with their family. So yeah,
mhm.
it'll be fun. 4 scenarios: battle line, battle for the past, meeting engagement, and watchtower. Due to the table setup we have, there's going to be some changes to deployment, nothing too major. And then there's a list of attendees for this year. I won't worry about that. I'll post this online. But actually, we should run forward because we can talk about the grudges, which are more exciting. Actually,
Mhm.
do you want to run through just use first names? You can just go through the list of players.
So first up, we've got first place from last year and last place from last year. That's Cole versus yours truly.
Oh, wait, you
And then we
skipped me.
Are you? Whoa, 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 whoa. We're not.
No, attendees. Do
I'm
the run
going.
through the attendees first.
Oh, you want the attendees? I was going to grudges.
Oh, I see. I see.
Um, so yes, we've got Chuck Moore, who is To and Tayrathi's representative. Cole McGinnigal, who is first place champion belt holder. Yours truly, who is a last place Brick of Shame holder. Then we've got Matt Hayward, Brad College, Dave Roke, Alex Gavrilov, Mark Tirodi.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say that right?
Tayrathi, you got it. Yep. Yep.
Tirodi. Okay. Quentin. Nope, not going to try that one.
Miskowski.
Help me out. Okay. Carl Gladys,
Yep.
Tom Schubert,
Yep.
and Bobby Hoffer.
Yep.
All right. Now, do we know who's playing what armies?
I know most of them. There's a there's one possible, and then one I'm not entirely sure, but I have a good idea. So we'll go
Let's
through.
let's
Let's go through the grudges, and we'll talk about the what is most likely the matchup.
Okay, so I've got so again Cole versus me. We've got Quentin versus Alex.
Well, no, let's just start you versus Cole. What are you
All right.
bringing to this event? We've already alluded
I
to
am
it.
bringing High Elves, and I know he's bringing Corn, which
Yes,
actually
sir.
are two of my favorite factions ever. So I'm gonna love this no matter what.
And what I'm
Um,
going to say is, I think you have the advantage. I think you win this game.
you
Just
think I
become
win this game? Huh?
with Banner of the World Dragon. I think you win this game.
Are we gonna be doing odds? Are we gonna be taking like placing bets on these before each round?
Ah, we could. We could.
I feel like I feel like we should be taking slips,
Yeah,
right?
maybe we will. Maybe we will.
Let's make this shit interesting. You know, put some skin in the game.
Yeah.
All right, then we got Quentin versus Alex. Now, Alex, what is he running for a fantasy army?
So he had two fantasy armies I remember. One was Skaven, but I
Ugh.
think he moved those all to rounds for Age of Sigmar. So I think his only square-based army right now is High Elves as well.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay, another high elf versus.
Dark Elves.
Okay, so we got
And
some dark elves.
Quentin, this isn't favoritism, but like, as people were getting into this, he was very interested in Dark Elves, and I had a few extra models, so I gave him a bunch of Metal Witch Elves.
Hmm.
He started picking up his own stuff. I stumbled across at a used sale, like a Hellebron on foot. So like, let's just say he's got an interesting army. It's very similar to like kind of like I would do, but he's taking slightly different turns, obviously. But I'm curious how this is going to play out because Quentin's got a few games in. I'm not sure if Alex has got a test game in yet. Hopefully, I can get a practice game in with Alex to give him kind of like a refresher. But
Hmm.
it should be fun.
Nice, nice. Then we've got Mark versus Matt. Now I know Matt is bringing dwarves,
Yes,
and then Mark is
Bretonians.
he was the one you were doing the practice game with the other day.
Yes, so if Matt can shoot him off before he touches him, golden. But also it comes down to combat. Like Matt could still hold the line pretty well with dwarves if he gets them equipped correctly, which I think he has been doing right lately.
Nice.
So it's going to be an interesting battle. But I think those two would probably be the happiest people in the room, just having a
Yeah.
blast.
Oh yeah. Well, when he gets to charge Matt with one dice, he'll have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, no, that's true. Oh boy,
Yeah.
forgot about that, Varun.
And then we got Carl versus Brad. Now I have to believe that Brad is bringing some sort of orcs and goblins army.
I think that's what he's doing because I think he's got like a bunch of like snot pump wagons, snotling pump wagons. That's my guess as well.
That's a very Brad army. It'll still like somehow beat face.
Oh, for sure, for sure. But like I said, it's Brad. He has a plethora, so he could bring Beastmen. I think he's got a whole collection. I would assume you're right, but
Mhm.
Carl is Empire all the way.
Okay, good. Boy, I've got a gift for him.
It's like
Um,
if he chooses it.
yeah, right. Let's see, and then we got Chuck and Dave. So we got Dave being bringing the Ogre Kingdoms.
Yep,
I'm trying to remember the fantasy names for these things now.
you got it. You
And
got it. You're doing good.
Chuck, another Dark Elf player with Chuck, right?
Yeah, and like I said, I was originally going to bring High Elves, and I thought about making Tayrathi a High Elf in the old world because that's my army. But like that army is kind of complete. So I
Mhm.
decided to put her as a Dark Elf. Um,
Can I say
because
now that I know that there's another Dark Elf army, I'm surprised you didn't go with some Wood Elves.
I thought about that, but like I really the thing is like I wanted to I will always bring Tayrathi to this event in some form.
Ah, yeah, yeah, that
So
makes
like I said,
sense.
I could have I could put her as an elf in any army really, but like I chose to do dark elves. Doesn't mean I can't.
Makes most sense that way. Plus
It
for a
does.
narrative, yeah,
It does. Yeah,
yeah,
for my narrative, it makes the most sense.
yeah.
But like I knew like if I really want to bring high elves, like I'm trying to learn a dark elf. Like the last practice game I had, or yeah, the last practice game I had, like I finished the game. I'm like, okay, what rules did I miss? Oh, all my rerolls on literally everything because I'm a dark elf player, and it's just like, whoops. Like I could pull out a high elf list and play it like the back of my hand. Even though it's the same game, the dark elf list, I'm like, I don't know what 1 + 1 equals.
All right, and the last one we got is Tom and Bobby. Any guesses here as to what these two are playing?
Yes, Tom's also got Ogre Kingdoms, and Bobby's got Vampire Gouts.
Nice, nice, and
Yeah,
nice mix here. Nice mix.
it
Love
is.
it.
It is. Actually, and it's interesting because I know you mentioned the Wood Elves. Mark also has Wood Elves. He almost brought Wood Elves. He chose Bretonians because he's a
Hmm.
equestrian fan. But
Hmm.
yeah, there's a nice mix, and like I said, there's a chance because people can change to the event of like I could switch, Mark could switch. You never know what can happen.
Oof, drama.
But unlikely. I bet what we just did is probably how it's going to happen. Um,
Mm.
Carl versus Brad. I have good chance on Carl. Me versus Dave. I still feel confident over Dave because I've at least played this game.
Yeah, you're going to destroy Dave.
Yeah, Tom versus Bobby. I'm gonna lean towards Tom because he's better. He's the one that taught me how to play 8th edition, so he's very competitive focused, whereas Bobby's casual.
Uh,
But there's gonna be a shit ton of skeletons, so dice rolls can still be dice rolls. So we'll see. But
yeah. Yeah, depending on what happens with the next um, Soulblight Gravelords book for Age of Sigmar, that army may become a fantasy army on squares.
hmm,
So, because I cannot continually push, I don't know, uh, that many models for an Age of Sigmar game without movement
without movement
trays.
trace.
Throughout the entire thing. Once those things have to come off movement trays, I'm like, nah.
Now we're good. We're good, guys.
I'm 41 and out of shape, and my back can't handle that.
It's fine. But yeah, that's gonna be the Tayrathi Invitational. Like I said, you're providing one, but I have a gift wrap surprise gift for everybody. I have an additional gift for everybody coming as well. That'll be a surprise for everybody at the event. Um,
Nice,
and it's kind of like the keepsake from the event. I even got one for myself. Because I finally remembered to get myself one. I usually forget.
nice.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I can't. Honestly, I can't wait for it. I'm not trying to wish the month away, but I think it's going to be the highlight of the year. Just because I'm going to be with very cool friends at a very unique place, playing a fun, relaxed beer and pretzels Warhammer game without any stress. Because who cares?
Literally cannot wait for this. I am 16 days away,
Hmm.
and I've got a lot of hobby to put together for this.
Yep. And hey, like I said, this is also one of the biggest Warhammer Fantasy tournaments in the country.
Mhm.
I don't. There was one at the boys. The boys that happened recently. They had a fantasy tournament too, but I'm not sure if we're bigger at 12. They might have had 20, but still, we're one of. I'm gonna say we're the
Top three.
biggest. I'm gonna say we're the
Top-
biggest, and people can fight me.
Hmm,
Yeah, let's do that. We're the biggest. We're the biggest fantasy tournament on the East
that's
Coast.
right. Yeah. Get punched in the mouth.
Yeah, get fucked. Just sack dagger everything left and right. But yeah, no, that's a. I think that's a pretty good show. We're well over an hour, which is unique
Yeah.
for our show. But like I said, we had appetizers, we had main course. I think we had a little soup in there too, talking about the brew hammer. That's like the little
Hmm.
soup salad combo, main course, and then a little dessert. So hope everybody's full. Um, we'll obviously be back next week. I won't say same bat time, same bat channel because things happen, and but we'll definitely keep up with the weekly schedule, and it'll be episode number 40. And if you know me, I don't care about numbers, so nothing special is going to happen.
Yeah.
We're just going to talk
So,
about stuff.
so yeah. So stay Stormcast strong.
Yeah.